How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. Well, we've warned you.
Consider yourself warned. You're listening to the Frankenstein Minute, where we dissect Universal's Frankenstein films 1 minute at a time. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Tom Lang.
And this is Minute 8.
It is. We continue the lecture by Professor Waldman.
Yep, at Goldstadt Medical College.
It's Ingolstadt, I think, in the novel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then later on in the series, you don't know where you are. It's the village is Frankenstein.
Well, that's in that.
Then it's Viseria.
Yeah.
And it's,
And that's the gist, or a lot of what's in that article that Don Glut wrote.
Oh, right.
And I have the magazine here, but
yeah?
I also noticed I bought a book of Don Glut did Frankenstein something. I can't remember what he called it, but it's a bunch of short pieces.
Oh, the Frankenstein Archive.
So
Yeah.
do you have that?
Yeah.
It's the first article in there.
Was it? Okay.
I've been meaning to tell you this.
All right.
But I had to wait till we were recording.
Of course.
But now everybody knows.
Now everybody
because
knows.
I got it on Amazon for a few bucks. It's not hard to find.
No.
And it's the first article in it. It's really good.
Actually, his book, The Frankenstein Legend, saw me through the 70s.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that
about
before.
the only thing that really went into any kind of serious depth prior to people like Tom Weaver, Greg Mank.
Right.
This
This article I noticed now that I've gone back and reread it too. He talks about the mummy and stuff too. He's kind of trying to wrap it all up. It's fun. It's
create its
sort of
own dark
lighthearted.
universe.
Yeah. It's lighthearted, and he's trying to what do we call it now? Retcon.
Oh,
basically. Yeah. To make sense of what we were just talking about.
Right.
Is it Ingolstadt? Is it Viseria? Is
Yeah.
it a town called Frankenstein?
Right.
There's
There's a movie right there. It's like a
town-
Hallmark movie, A Town Called Frankenstein.
That would be amazing if it was called A Town Called Frankenstein and nothing horror happened.
No,
it
not
was just
at
a typical like Sandra Bullock thing.
Yeah, right. Actually, speaking of Hallmark, to get completely off the rails,
Absolutely.
they did a really good mini-series of Frankenstein.
They did.
It's actually one of the best strict adaptions from the book.
Okay.
They veer off of it very little.
All right.
It's very good. It has all the hallmarks of low-budget TV movie.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's better than Branagh's, I would say.
All right.
So if you find it, give it a look.
I don't hate Branagh's movie.
I don't hate it.
But
It's
I don't
just-
watch it.
No, I wouldn't. I watched it recently, just
Yeah.
in preparation for all of this.
Yeah.
People waltz an awful lot in that movie.
A lot of waltzing.
A lot of waltzing.
There was the waltz. Is that
The waltz.
Is it all a very dramatic?
It's big sweeping, swirling, gobbledygook like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My memory of it is, De Niro.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's being asked to do something weird.
Well, it's out of his wheelhouse.
Kinda.
Yeah,
true.
I'd say if anything, he's miscast. It's not that he does a bad job.
Yeah.
He's just not the guy I would think of.
He's the guy from Midnight Run. That's
Yeah,
that's not.
there we go.
You're
There's
not
a
cast-
career high point. Taxi driver.
Well, no, okay,
Godfather
no.
2.
Okay, well that's interesting because he's not. Okay, he's not those guys. He's a great actor. He's not, but he's not a murderer. He's not a psychopathic killer like in Taxi Driver. Robert De Niro isn't. He's not.
No, he himself.
He's
as
not
far
the
as I know,
Godfather. Yeah, he's
as
not
far
a
as I know, he's
Don.
not- yeah.
As far as I know, I picture him being like the guy in Midnight Run. Just
yeah.
cursing a lot, maybe
Yeah.
smoking too much.
Yeah.
Just I don't know.
No,
So
yes,
then taking that guy and then putting him in that get-up.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway. So the students are laughing at that skeleton still when we start because one of the orderlies has bumped
into the skeleton. It's bouncing up and down. Now, did you notice the thing in its mouth?
I didn't.
See, I was going to point to it too, and I forget.
Is that in the script?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's something that you think maybe they found on the day?
It's very probable.
Because it's a long cutaway to those
To
students.
the people laughing, and there's a little bit of like the flirtatious.
Yeah.
The woman pokes at the guy in front of her with her pencil.
Yeah, and he's 60 years old.
He's 60 and still in
Why?
school.
Yeah, why is everyone so old? And why is the old guy up front? Like, if it was a matter of you can't get enough people, and you just said, well, just throw 12 people out there. Put the old guy in the back.
In the back, yeah, the young students.
Far away from the camera. Because I notice when you see it from the angle of, when you see the actual front row, they are old.
Yeah.
I assume these are
they could either be other faculty.
Other faculty. That's what it looks like
Yeah.
to me. And then when you cut to this other angle, it seems like these are students.
These
And then,
students.
you're like you say, being flirtatious. And I don't know how much of that is fashion, that it looks old because they look old because it's old.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're probably in their 20s and, look like life was hard.
Possible.
It was hard in Ingolstadt in whatever era this took place.
Yeah. So yeah.
It takes its toll because Edward Van Sloan was only 49, 50, and he looks a lot older.
Yeah. And
some of it's
then,
makeup and the
it
wig,
did take 25 years to get through medical school back then too. People don't realize.
Yeah.
It was a 25-year program.
Yeah. So that wasn't to make sure you were really committed to doing this.
That's a good point. And this is foolishness and shenanigans. It's they're not taking this seriously, and it makes me think. Now I know I'm overstating it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking. I'm trying to make this in my mind into the school that made Henry who he is, right? And is there maybe some too much screwing around, not enough reckoning upon God?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
that's why he left.
Could be.
He didn't.
Yeah,
he couldn't major in reckoning upon God.
Well, actually, that's a good point. He left. Yeah,
he left. Well, and Waldman addresses that later.
Yeah,
which we don't want to really go into too much detail.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. So I guess that's really the answer to that. Is it isn't, and obviously there's nothing really going on here that gives us the indication that anything going on at Goldstadt Medical School is bad
or frivolous
or frivolous. Yeah.
No, I
We're not making mad scientists here.
No, that's not. Yeah. That's not part of their curriculum. But I've always kind of
advanced class.
Took it as it makes these people human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody bumped into the skull and it bounces up and down. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yep.
So they actually laugh like people would.
Yep.
In this environment, they're not stiff, stuffy.
Right.
Just extras. It gives them some color.
It's true. It's just not that funny.
Well, you sat there and watched some guy babble on for a couple hours about
I guess that's
eugenics.
True.
You need a little levity.
Eugenics.
Well, what do you
Let's talk about
Let's talk about it.
Does this undercut the whole point of what we're trying to do here? To say, I mean, not to skip ahead, but the monster is sympathetic in this film. I don't know if anybody is that spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
So if there's a message here, there's a temptation to think that what Waldman's saying here undercuts it a bit.
Yes.
Do you think?
I think the retention of this whole criminal brain versus normal brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes against the grain of what Whale does with the material. It's one of the things that Flory inserted.
Yeah.
And it totally fits his concept because when the monster appears, it is just that.
Yeah.
There is no personality. It is literally a killing machine.
Yeah.
Raging killing machine. And
this is in the Flory script.
This is in the Flory script. And thankfully that never made it to the screen.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have been stunningly uninteresting. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about these films today.
Yeah.
And
we probably wouldn't have the affection we have for the entire Universal series.
Clearly not. No.
Frankenstein is the linchpin.
It is. It definitely is. It's
it's the heart.
It is.
And here's my thing: is I just wanted to say that in a later minute, I will talk a little bit more about this. But I think it is in the movie still on purpose, and I have a theory about it. But I'll talk about it later.
Talk about it later. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've always felt it doesn't fit.
Yep. Well, I have a theory. I've come up with a theory.
Right. Well,
it's not as great as my Igor theory
from
last minute,
brilliant.
but we'll work on that. What I was going to say was, again, this is where I really noticed that there's women here.
Yeah.
And he does say gentlemen this time.
Well, at the end he says, I'm assuming he's thanking the orderlies that have assisted him.
Interesting.
And he says, thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
So I'm assuming he's just addressing the two orderlies that have dealt with the body.
Well,
on the
there you
gurney.
go. I'll allow it. I like that. See, that's
Because
a theory
he
I can get behind.
He says ladies and gentlemen, but at the end he says gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then they sort of spring to action.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right. So, in this time period, women
went to college.
went
I guess.
to college,
Yeah.
I guess.
Wherever this is, it was very progressive school. That
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't get a job, but this is where you're supposed to meet your husband.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You're
Yes,
right, yeah.
that's that's where we're at in that point in English
it's
history.
It's funny because it almost contradicts later. We were talking about the villagers with their torches earlier on, and later when they all leap to action, it's all the men, and the women are seen, cowering, looking out the window, and it's sort of there's a weird dichotomy there.
Especially, well, there's a lot of stuff going on with that because we talked about it before. This is a film based on a book written by a 18-year-old woman, who, and then it was adapted into a play by a woman that apparently there's very little that one name swap they kept. But,
Yeah.
But I guess I picture James Whale being progressive.
Oh, I think so. Well,
Yeah.
clearly, openly gay man in 1930s Hollywood was, not the norm.
There had to be one. I mean,
You're looking
right?
at him, yeah. Here he is. It's Whale.
He was
And-
an openly gay. I mean, that's fair, right? To
yes.
say,
oh yeah,
you
no, he
said
was.
it, but
He was.
yeah, openly gay.
Everything I understand about him, he made no secret of it.
Yeah,
He's also pretending to be above his social level
yeah,
in real life.
right.
Once this film became a hit, he dropped like 10 years off of his age, gave the impression that he was from aristocracy when he wasn't. His father was a coal miner or a furnace tender or something like
Jeez.
that. Yeah.
You don't get much lower than a coal miner,
Not
literally.
literally.
So, brains in jars.
Brains in jars. I think everything that Waldman says is a bunch of gobbledygook. I don't think there's any.
You don't think the
Scientific-
scarcity of convolutions in the frontal lobe or whatever?
Well, it's funny.
Scarcity of convolutions.
I don't remember if it's in the shooting script or the Flory script, but he refers to it as being mongoloid.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's
So
problematic.
Yes, it is. So again, the eugenics of it,
Yeah.
is a little off-putting nowadays.
Flory writes the Lugosi one, right? Doesn't he? Or does he just direct that one? The one that he makes instead of Frankenstein?
Oh, the Murders in the Rue Morgue?
Yeah, did he write that
he
too?
wrote that, yeah.
Because that's got some weird
There's some
thoughts.
weird eugenic shit in there, too. Yeah,
he's a weird dude.
He's an odd guy.
One
It's
might
a
be
weird
tempted
film.
to say he's got maybe a scarcity of convolution in the
Maybe,
frontal
I
lobe.
don't know. Well, it's interesting because there's the Richard J. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Anobile.
Yeah.
Don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But he did this whole series of books in the 70s. This was pre-video.
Okay.
But there were frame blow-ups from the films and then dialogue excerpts. And he did the entire book on Frankenstein. And in his introduction, he makes a very weak case that the film would have been better had Flory made it
Yeesh.
versus Whale. And none of the facts bear this out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I
can't
think
disagree.
history bears me out on that one.
Kind of. Yeah, this movie wasn't. Well, I was going to say it wasn't stolen from Flory. It was completely stolen.
Oh, it was
from Flory.
absolutely.
But yeah, my God, to
but-
think that it would have been better with his vision.
No,
my goodness,
not at all. And I'm sure he's basing this solely on Flory's other work versus Whale's other work. But even there,
Yeah,
history I think
what are you
bears
talking
us
about?
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So Flory's other work, we're talking Murders in the
Murders
Rue
in the Rue
Morgue,
Morgue,
Freaks.
No,
yeah?
that's Todd Browning.
I always do that. I always get those mixed up. So what are we talking about? Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Well,
There's
he
some
did
really cool stuff in that.
There is visually
there's some really
cool,
terrible stuff in that.
but dramatically it's awful.
Awful.
Yeah, and the intercutting of Charlie Gamora in a gorilla suit with a real chimpanzee.
It's flawless.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's seamless. You couldn't do better with CGI.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Maybe he would have had a chimpanzee play the monster in this one.
Maybe
I can't
it
imagine.
should have been Andy Serkis. I don't know.
That's probably
Yeah.
true. In the remake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking one of the things about the brains in the jars is this is iconic. This is what brains in jars look like,
It
and I
is.
don't know if it comes from this movie or not.
I don't recall ever seeing brains in jars prior to this.
Yeah, but this is what the jars
But
look
the
like. I
jars-
think on Futurama, that's probably what they look
Yeah,
like. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like everybody knows
This
what
is
this
what a
looks
jar with a brain in it
looks like.
If you're at
but
Bed
then-
Bath and Beyond,
Yeah,
looking for a brain jar.
brain. Yeah, it ain't like it was in the old day where they had to go digging up graves. Nowadays,
No, you
just find them in the
Well,
jar.
I'm sure Amazon has the
Yeah,
the brain
probably
jar.
true. So there's X-rays up on the wall behind Waldman. There's on our left, let's say stage left is a skull facing the right, and on stage right is a skull facing the left.
Yes.
There's a lot of this where there's different people or human remains, fake or drawings of anatomy, different things.
Yeah.
They're all. We're all witnessing this together.
Right.
I noticed some of them aren't quite facing Waldman, but the point is, the skeleton is there. Everybody's there to talk about all this, and listen to what he has to say.
It sells it as a medical lecture, as an anatomy lecture.
Were there X-rays in Ingolstadt? And when did we start doing X-rays?
I think we're like in the 20s.
Was it?
I think
okay,
something
so we're
like that.
dating this movie to this. And you know what else? There's not just those two skulls, but when he leans forward a bit, you see right behind his head, up on the wall, behind his head, is like a shoulder. There's like an X-ray of it, like a shoulder or a knee or something. It looks like it's kind of weird, but that's all right.
It's probably what the set dressing people
Had. Yeah, but they
I
showed
went
it
to
to Whale, and he's like, I don't know, I'm going with the shoulder. Yeah, I don't know. It's an odd choice.
It is, but you don't notice it until you immerse yourself like we have
That's a good point.
in rather unhealthy depths of
unhealthy obsession.
yeah.
Another thing I thought maybe Henry invented X-rays. So maybe
he did.
Maybe
Yeah,
he just
maybe that
invented
just
it. It's
yeah,
just
well,
an electrical machine, or whatever it's called. Because he finds the. Well, we'll talk about the rays later. We don't want to skip ahead too far.
No. And then we see Fritz kind of peeking up over the windowsill.
Yep.
But we don't see him in the long shot.
Yeah.
So he's either ducked down or there's a continuity error. I assume the second.
The continuity is problematic. It doesn't even look the same to me.
It's
looks
lit darker, so my guess is that it was inserted after the fact.
Yeah.
It looks like it's lit when everybody is left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming it's just from that take. They just stuck it in to establish he's there watching this progress.
Yeah, and Whale likes to just stick a close-up in when you don't expect it. But we'll
Right.
talk about that
That's
again.
coming up,
up soon. Waldman just loves that brain. That normal brain.
The normal-
He just thinks it's the great. This is the single greatest specimen. I mean, I don't know what he's just in love with that brain. Is he having sex with that brain? Do you think?
I don't know, man.
He loves that brain.
Yeah.
That is the greatest brain. Yeah, it's deep.
Well, we
It's
can
getting
talk
deep.
about that later when Henry says stuff about bringing life to the body with his own hands. We can talk about that
Without reckoning upon
without
God.
reckoning upon God.
One thing he says I think is kind of funny is he says these jars will remain here for your inspection. Not for long.
No, they won't.
No, they
Well,
won't.
and I noticed nobody bothers to
Nobody.
hop on down.
He's been blah blah
We're
blah
getting the fuck out of here.
This is my last class of the day.
Man, it's Thirsty Thursday. I got to get to the bar.
I'm a sprightly 53 years old, and I'm gonna go. I gotta get this. That
Gotta get down to the malt shop.
stein of beer isn't gonna drink
it's
itself.
Oh. Well,
All right.
and of course, though, I mean, getting back to the good brain, bad brain,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have the wonderful scene in Young Frankenstein
that's really
had they
true.
taken this out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
we
probably
have-
the best part about it.
yeah, it doesn't work in this film, but
Yeah.
I'm glad it's there because of that.
Well, and I'll have more to say about that.
As will I.
All right, good.
belong dead.
Prepare for a spine-tingling, nerve-shattering podcast featuring all your favorite monsters. You won't believe your ears when you listen to Monster Kid Radio. Hear your host, Derek M. Cook, and his ever-rotating stable of guests discuss your favorite classic, and sometimes not-so-classic monster movies. Subscribe to Monster Kid Radio through iTunes or Stitcher, or visit monsterkidradio.net before the next weekly episode of Monster Kid Radio. Go through the archives for interviews with Sarah Karloff, Victoria Price, and Joel Hodgson. Listen to discussions about movies like Creature from the Black Lagoon, Island of Terror, and King Kong. And don't forget convention coverage from Monster Bash and the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. Classic monsters, modern talk, and the head of Rondo Hatton, only on Monster Kid Radio!